Hello and welcome to an all-new adult erotica in comics. You're watching SVon82, and I am Scotty, your underground comics loving friend. I think I got a pretty interesting video for you all this week. This week we are talking about a black underground comics artist who began his career in the early 1960s. His career spanned all the way through the 1990s. Very talented legend in underground comics. Of course, I'm referring to Grass Green. I hope you'll stick around. Richard Eugene Green was born in Fort Wayne, Indiana in 1939. He was an underground comics artist and was part of the pioneer generation of the 1960s. He went by the nickname Grass, based on his childhood nickname Grasshopper, given to him by a friend when he was a kid. Mr. Green always loved comics, and that love would lead him to write a letter to Jack Kirby in 1961. He actually received a reply with technical advice and support. This gave Grass the encouragement and motivation that he needed to get his work published. Originally, his comics could be read in low-budget fanzines like Alter Ego, Fantasy Illustrated, Superhero and Star-Studded Comics, The Buyer's Guide to Comics Fandom, Comics Illustrated, Masquerader, and Rocket's Blast Comic Collector. In these days, he would sometimes spell his last name with an E at the end of Green because he felt like it looked better, though this wouldn't last. His best-known character is Zor the Human Cat, which made its debut in 1964. Zor is an extraterrestrial cat who is ordered by his king to go to Earth to fight a race of rat people. The series gained a cult following and even received an Alley Award for Best Fan Comic Strip in 1966. He would serve in the Air Force, the result of a draft. After fulfilling his draft service, he would move to California with his childhood friend Ron Foss. Ron being the same friend who gave him his childhood nickname. In these years, Grass would work on a funny parody of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby's Fantastic Four, and he would call them the Frantic Four. During this time, the Fantastic Four was a fairly new comic. The Frantic Four received a favorable response, so Green would bring the characters back for the 6th issue of Alter Ego. It was titled The Bestest League of America Meets the Frantic Four, by both Green and his buddy Foss, with the script provided by a very young Roy Thomas. Green drew many humorous comics throughout the 1960s. He did the one-shot The Shape in 1967 in issue 1 of Charlton Premiere. In a magazine called Go-Go, Green would draw a more professional version of his Bestest League story. And in the next issue, the Bestest League of America versus the Marvelous Superheroes would appear. The Frantic Four was changed to the Fantabulous Four. In issue 15 of Star Studded, 2 of Grass's more notable characters would make their comic debut, Wildman and Rubber Roy, a spoof of Bob Kane and Bill Finger's Batman and Robin. While Grass Green did enjoy drawing superhero comics, he would eventually become a part of the alternative and underground comic scene. Underground comic artists not only worked independent from major publishing companies, but they could also draw and publish whatever they wanted. Green was inspired by this, and he would take a more proactive approach and began publishing his own work independently. Around 1969, he would draw the comic strip Lost Family for Frost Illustrated, a weekly newspaper aimed at the black population of Fort Wayne, Indiana. In 1972, Green's work could be read in Super Soul Comics, a hard-edged expose of racism and bigotry in the United States. This was distributed by Kitchen Sink Press. Green's work was also featured in Good Jive Comics by Pooh Bear Productions in 1972. He did a pretty lewd strip in Bizarre Sex issue 2 and Teen Horizons of Shangri-La issue 2, which were both on Kitchen Sink Press. Some of Grass Green's underground works were pretty awful as far as the topics of the strips, such as Warla in Wonderworld, the story in Bizarre Sex in which a brother and sister have sexual relations. The artwork was fantastic, but this was definitely bizarre to say the least. But the artwork was pretty legendary despite the lewdness of some of his works. A little later in his life, he would begin collaborating with writer Michael Vance on several comics, starting with Holiday Out in 1980 for Renegade Press. The series would feature 2 of Green's characters, Plastic Man and Rock. while Megaton Comics released a 12-issue Wildman series in 1987. Grass remained active until the early 90s, when he produced mostly adult-oriented comic books through Ripoff Press, including 4 issues of Horny Stories and Comics. He would also do work in Marooned, Sinan, and The Decorator for Eros Comics, the adult-themed imprint for Fantagraphics books. Grass Green was also a talented singer, guitar player, pianist, and comedian. He enjoyed some local fame in his hometown of Fort Wayne, particularly after he appeared in the TV talent show The Original Amateur Hour. He would pass away from lung cancer at the age of 63 in Fort Wayne in 2002. Now, as I'm wrapping up today's video, I will put some of Grass Green's artwork up here on the screen for you guys to check out. What did you think about Grass Green? Are you a fan of his artwork? Does the overly lewd content of some of his underground work put you off? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching. I talked a little bit about Grass in my video covering the Bizarre Sex comics. I'm glad I got the chance to finally talk about this legend in underground comics. Definitely want to take a second to shout out the channel members. I'll put them up here on the screen. We had 2 members join that are brand new this week. Welcome, Derek Neiman and Tony from the Comiverse. And thank you so much to everybody that is a channel member. I really appreciate it. It helps the channel out a lot, as well as the donation to Cadis that we do every month, helping new addicts that are entering recovery who have nothing. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. And to you guys who are watching the video, thank you so much. I do new videos every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I welcome you back to check them out. Until next time, you guys have a great week. I'll see you. Peace.